Anyways, let me get on one of the adventures. I was telling the twins the other day about this story. So I found this.
You already haven't.
Last time, do you guys remember the abandoned temple I showed you on the slideshow? Any of you guys? Anyways, I'm really into the abandoned temples because the many that I found, it's like an experience that's hard to words, but hair-raising, blissful, terrifying, everything. So when I went to this one temple, a friend of mine, Balaji, he's a local landmark, very into Narasimha. He said, Dhruva, I found a new temple for you. New temple? He says, there's only 20 miles from this Machari Yoga Narasimha. So Machari Yoga Narasimha is a small deity, he's in the second book. So the temple fell into ruins. It was made of solid stone and the backside fell over. Nobody was looking after him. So they put him in the police station. So they called him Police Narasimha. So when you would walk in the police station, he was sitting in the front. So all the criminals would come in handcuffs, and the first thing they would see is this statue idol of Yoga Narasimha, the police Narasimha. He was there for like 10 years. Finally, some of the inhabitants of this teeny little village, Machari, decided that's their duty to rebuild the new temple for Kuladeva, or Ishtadeva. And so they built a new temple, but they had to reinstall the deity. So they told the police chief, our guard, fight for like a year, and it went to the courts. Can you believe it? It's a good fight. All of us are fighting over, I don't know, land or clothes or all this material stuff, but they were fighting. This is awesome. So they eventually, I was at the ceremony, and Balaji came in the Narasimha temple doing it, and I said, I have to go. I'll be back. So I showed up at this temple, and this deity was gigantic. I wish I could show you actually. Usually, in my table, there's a book in the back. Uncover it. No, in the middle. Uncover the book and just bring it to me. Just take it from the back. Against the wall, the book. Yeah. So since the slide is not working, even though I'm in one of the biggest IT hubs in the country, we can't figure out the slideshow. I'll show you the actual book, which weighs like 12 pounds, so I'll get my workout this evening. So this temple, I went there, I was blown away, first of all, of the inhabitants. Narasimha's people are very special. So, I'm excited. You guys are the first temple to see this, the actual finished book in America, where I'm actually launching it. The first temple in America. Thank you so much. So this is Narasimha, the god of the yoga. It's a lot thicker, the first book. So the first book was mainly on temples. This is on temples, on art, iconography, and this is the temple I'm talking about. Patamagi. I don't know if you guys can see this. So the temple was completely buried underground. And the locals, who were Hanuman, they worship Hanuman. But who does Hanuman worship? Ali. And they have this misconception in places in India that Hanuman is God. It's absolutely insanity. So they're worshiping Hanuman very nicely, built in a fancy temple. But they kept getting dreams, the priests. You have to find me, unearth me and worship me. And they were ignoring. And months went by and some of them heard a roaring sound with a lion. And there is tigers in that area of Karnataka anyway, so nothing unusual for them. But then Hanuman came in and said, why are you not worshiping my Lord? You have to unearth him. So there was this big field which was up high like on a plateau. It was a raised plateau where this man was growing corn for years. It was his property. Narasimha is there. So they started digging with the bulldozers and it was a gigantic temple, stone temple. And they started excavating and there's, the pillars on the outside and there's like an entranceway. And they were like blown away this time. The whole time this plateau was a temple. And as they start taking the dirt out, they find this huge Narasimha with Sri Devi and Bhu Devi. And then they see there's a three sunlight. So there's three entrances where they worship. Narasimha, Gopal, and Narayana. A lot of these Vaishala kings in the south, they always worship three. Narasimha was generally the prominent one. But Krishna was always there, So the people of the village were so kind. This tiny village, probably like 50 houses, they all came and we started worshiping him. And I was blown away because, you think you've seen so much, right? You think you've had so many experiences and nothing can top that experience. Now in the material world, like our body, or say a material experience, it kind of caps out. You can't really go over. Or if somebody's intoxicating, they think they're at the height, but then it drops. But when it's a spiritual experience, it doesn't drop. It keeps going. What do you think of that? So after I saw this temple, then the locals said, Prabhu, we found another temple. Do you want to see him? So here I am doing my research already on the temples I know. Is it up?
No, yeah.
Oh, I think we're wrong. I planned this whole special for you guys too. Any more tech heads in the building?
The light is on now. Yep, it's coming up slowly. Yep. Oh.
Are we lucky or are we lucky? Okay, now we can do that. I'm used to Apple. Alright, click on that. Okay. This is a pretty cool looking TV, huh? Oh yeah, okay. So let me click on it. Oh yeah, look, there's me. Well, my backside. But this is when I think I was 17. This is in Gujarat. Anyone from Gujarat here? Obviously. Gujarati. So, most Gujaratis will tell me, not so much Narasimha temples in Gujarat. Well, there's 500, but there's more than 500 now, because of Google Maps. But I've only found 150 plus. So you have ones in Ahmedabad, you have one Somnathpur, Rajkot, Dwarka, Bettur, and the list goes on. So this is one of them. And you can see the old style of photos. This was a 35mm camera. The kids here probably don't even know what that is. But they're just on iPhones, Now I can click an iPhone and it's better than the quality of this. But look at this unusual form. So the deity behind the face is Krishna. They worship him as Krishna or someone in Gujarat. And that was, back then I could get away with taking photos. Yes. It's supposed to be in order, but maybe one of these computers is out of whack. But I'm showing you the older photos. Now this is from when I was like 15, 16, 17, 18. And you guys, a lot of you guys are in school. I was like, I'm out of here, school. Forget school. I'm going to see Narasimha. So there I am. And this one, can you see clearly? The face, the mouth. It's very difficult. This was my first digital camera. It was 0.5 megabytes. Megapixels. We laugh about that now. This is Dhruva Narasimha in a cave. And the night before I went there, the custodian who was looking after, the sweeper in front, was attacked by a tiger. And as I was getting there in the middle of the night, there was like jeeps, there was action in the middle of it. And it was there carrying this guy. I thought it was, older person could know. He was attacked by a tiger and he managed to drag himself to the Brahmin's house. It was 10 p.m. before I arrived. What do you think this is? Narasimha's Padika, a foot, on top of a mountain in Andhra, near a place called Khammam, in Khammam district. Well, now is Khammam, anyone from here from Andhra, Telangana? Khammam is Telangana or Andhra? Okay, it's all very confusing. Used to be Andhra. So, this foot, here I am trying to go see an idol of Narasimha, and I get up the top and it's just, Narasimha put his foot here. And I was like, what? What do you mean he put his foot? So they only worship his feet. Now that is, as Gaudiyas, that's like the topmost, is the Paduka worship, I worshipped the lotus feet of the Lord. Anyone from Tamil Nadu here? Oh, did you know this temple? Namakal, Yoga Narasimha. Can you see his hand? He's like this, Narasimha. And behind him is Brahma, Shiva, and the Devatas. Before he even went to kill Hiranyakashipu, everybody was a little worried. Hiranyakashipu is very unbeatable. Are you sure you're going to be able to deal with this? Can you give us some hope? Because he wouldn't reveal the form. And so, instead what he revealed, how will you kill him? He has all these boons. So you see the mudra in his right hand, he's like, my nails. He's showing them his nails. And that was his, even when he was fighting, they didn't know. This is in Tamil Nadu as well. You see how he's fighting? This form is called Veera Narasimha. You see how he has his hand up like this? Maybe some of the kids will be experiencing it. If mom gets angry or dad, sometimes you see the hand. Sometimes it comes down, sometimes it doesn't. But the fact that it's up, you have to be careful. So this hand is for those who are like non-believers or rascals. So it's like a mudra. And then if you look carefully, Narasimha's one other hand is coming around and grabbing Hiranyakashipu's arm. And there's some forms where he's picking him up. His nails are crushing him and pulling him to kill him. It's a Veera Narasimha. Well, that's me when I think I was 18 maybe. And this man behind me with the glasses, Madhusudan, his father, very, very big billionaire industrialist in Bangalore back in the day. So he was the eldest son, a lot of pressure, ran away with social responsibility, ran away from it to go see Narasimha. He literally ran away. So my first time I went to a hogalam, he was there and he spoke perfect English. So we went around together. And my first tiger experience was with him. When I climbed the tree, and the mom and the cubs came, and then they left because he was very slow walking. I was very fast. So sometimes Americans are speedy. And he kept telling me, just enjoy the peace and tranquility. I was like, come on, next temple, next temple. And in my rush, the tiger was there. I went up in the tree. It felt like hours, but it was hardly 2 minutes. And then the tiger went up with her cubs down the hill. And then Mother was down there, Dhruva, what are you doing? My backpack was on. I dropped everything and climbed up. And then him and I practically ran the next 5 kilometers. He was a special man, and ever since then, this was a few years after that, I haven't heard from him since. Because back then we didn't have WhatsApp or any of this convenient stuff, iPhones. I took this photo because it was like the first time I saw an English sign. It said, it was everywhere I was traveling for like years. It was always in the local language. And the rickshaw drivers, they would point to the sign. Sometimes they would have like a little lion face painted on it or something. But here it says Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Swami Temple, and I was like in ecstasy. I was like, fine, that I could look and find it myself. So, and this was the temple, of course. This is a very special place. It's called Pali Siro. It's on the bank of where three rivers come together, and where Agastya Maharishi, Tapa, and Lord Lakshmi Narasimha appeared to him. Who knows what this form is? We worship him in Mayapur. Oh no, it's not this time. Ugra just means anger. This is Stamba or Stanu, emerging or emerged from the pillar, right? You see how the hand is up again? This is a very powerful form, and technically we're not supposed to worship this, but they can carve statues around temples to, give respect to this, because it's a very powerful form. He's coming out to find this boy who's being tortured and to destroy the person who's torturing him. There again is Vira. And then we have Jwala, Ugra. See the hand again? The right hand on the top? and then the left hand is doing this mudra where it's like twisting. So he hasn't pulled the intestines yet. He's just now breached the stomach. And then that mudra signifies he's going to twist. So sometimes he'll have two hands, he's going like this. And he's twisting the intestines as the two hands are pulling, and he's twisting them up in like this thread. It's really far out. This is the Lakshmi Narasimha that was on the bank of the river, where the sign in English was there. Back when you could take photos, now this is impossible. This is a nice Halal Narasimha. So Gautama Maharishi did tapa and Yoga Lakshmi Narasimha manifested him in this area. I think this English is mixed up on my computers. God bless them. So yeah, these beautiful Brahmins, they don't let you pass this door. You see these steps? In South, especially in Karnataka, you cannot go into the temple. You used to be able to, but now there's all these rules. Mainly because things get stolen. So I was there with my photographer, and I said, no, I have to go in and see him. Please allow us. So they made us go bathe in the river called Varati River. It's one of the places where Varaha's tusks went in the earth. So that's where Gautama Maharishi was doing tapa and Narasimha manifest. So the deity was refound 700-800 years ago in the river in perfect condition, and they installed him. I'm going to see if I can find. This deity worshipped by Ramanuja Acharya, Lakshmi Narasimha, in the center. This is in Sri Ram. How many people can do Sri Ram? So Ramanuja used to call Ranganath Shaya Narasimha. That was his name. He worshipped him as Narasimha, sleeping Narasimha. And Yoga Nidra, very powerful. Ramanuja was such an amazing Narasimha. On the left, you see the red, the pink. Unfortunately, the paint. So that's and Hanuman is worshipping who? Ugra Narasimha in a cave. The Rajmandri district mountain. And this was in the middle of the night I found this. I think I found it like midnight or something. Remember I talked last time too about very big deities. You see how big this deity is? And he's standing up on a stool. And this deity is a very special deity. He also has a danda. Because a lot of people go here apparently who are having problems with boots or mental illness. And this Brahmin kind of beats you with a danda, Narasimha danda, they call it. So, he took the danda and gave some taps. This is like a system going back a long time, since Ramanuja's time. They keep this stick on Narasimha, and anyone who's kind of depressed or has anxiety, which they never used to have before, that's a modern thing. But if they were feeling a little lost, they would come there and the Brahmin would happily beat you with the danda. Sometimes they do it a little hard. My first book, Narasimha the Lost Temples, this was the temple, Mogaranadu. So the front cover of that first book. And these Brahmins, so you have Ganesh Bhatt, the father, the son, the father, the grandfather, and then the great-grandfather and the great-great-great-grandfather were all there. They were sleeping in the other two, so I didn't get them in there, but it's such an amazing thing that the lineage continues on. And he's an IT graduate, but then there's two. So his other brother is working in Bangalore, big business, wealthy man, and he stayed in the temple and he does the same. And then the other brother finances, makes sure the temple has everything. That's the system. He just had his second son when I was there 2 months ago, and he was so happy. So now it's complete. One is the, which is not common because normally Brahmins say Brahmins, but nowadays you have to be practical to keep the tradition going. So he was in heaven. This was far out because this was I think 11 p.m. I showed up at this village, Halasi in Karnataka, and some of you have heard of yaksha, obviously. You know what a yaksha is? Sometimes they say it's something negative, but it's not. A yaksha is someone who can give you a blessing or they can take everything from you, depending on what they feel like doing. This village was the village of the yakshas, they believe in Karnataka. And all the yakshas prayed to Narasimha, one of his devotees. So when I came into this village, I was coming with a few kids and they stopped in the middle of the night and they had torches and they said, "Where do you want to stop?" There's these weird abstract statues, you have to put your hand on their feet. Yaksha, Yakshini. And they wouldn't let me pass. So I did. And it's believed that this village suffered from a lot of, disease, viruses, because they were worshipping Narasimha devotees, the Yaksha and Yakshini. And a dream happened. And it said, please worship my devotees. That actually is what pleases the Lord when people are actually worshipped. So these Brahmins, unfortunately, they died in COVID, sadly. And this is some of the architectural stuff you'll see on the outside of the temple. See how the intestines are swirling? Remember I was saying? The fingers, see? So the bottom fingers, look how he's twisting it out. And then the up is twisting it. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, the statues, you can see the Muslims did a good job of bashing and breaking. They used to invade, and if they didn't have time, they wouldn't break the whole statue. They would smash their nose. Or smash one finger. Just to destroy the perfection of it. Bless their evil hearts. So, this Bhaskaran Swami, his name is, the one doing Abhishekam. This man's a very special man. I've known him a long time. He worships Narasimha as the god of Tantra. All Tantra comes from Narasimha. He's the god of Tantra. So he does this Narasimha Tantra, which is a very, very rare Tantra. It's mainly removing your obstacles, whether Karma Kandi or Grihadi. And he's quite old man. He used to be the head archaka of Melput, the Narasimha temple. Many times, and for years I was trying to pick his brain. These amazing devotees, it's hard to get, them to reveal the essence of Yoga Narasimha, who is his God. So this is a rare photo where he allowed me to kind of get close and then he talked, finally after 18 years of where is it again? Every single day he does Abhishek. That's the actual tradition, what we're supposed to do. Because the temples are government, it's Saturday, only Saturday, but actually it's every single day. And this is me offering the first book at Yoga Narasimha Swami. Let's see if he's there. Yeah, there he is. Because he was found in a cave. The Swamiji was walking down to bathe in one of the local rivers with his disciples, and the ground started trembling, and they thought it was an earthquake. And there was this roaring sound. So everybody naturally ran away in fear except this Swamiji and a few of his disciples. And he knew it was not an inauspicious vibration. He wanted to find this sound. This was hardly 180 years ago. So he followed it to the base of this small hillock. And he could see on top was like a flat little plateau area. So a couple of the other disciples were like, "Oh, Swamiji, maybe not a good idea." No, he kept following. And he only ended up with two of his disciples. They got to the top and there was a small cave. And as soon as he walked inside the cave, the roaring stopped. And his disciples were a little worried. He was in there for some time. There wasn't a sound. And then all of a sudden, Swamiji came out holding the deity in his arms. You can see he's not such a big deity. He's hardly, 2 feet, 2.5 feet. This yoga Narasimha. And this is the Brahmin who, again, I tell people all the time, a lot of these Brahmins have to stop worshipping because they have to make money. They're married, they have kids. So when this yoga Narasimha came, was brought to his ancestors brought to their village. That night, the tigers came and tried to break into their house. So the Swamiji was like, what have I done wrong? I found you, I'm bringing you to worship you. And they all fell asleep at his feet. And the Swamiji had a dream where she said, never stop my worship. So he never stopped. And then his future generation never stopped. But this generation stopped. Told me the story, obviously it was translated by my friend Chaitanya. I was like, no, that's what happened? Show me. And he pulled up his dhoti and showed me his thigh where the tiger bit into it and carried. Could you imagine the pain? He understood. So what did I do wrong? And then he understood what his forefathers and his fathers had never stopped the worship. So someone was asking me today, we have Shalagram, what can I do to make him happy? I said, don't stop. Just do the worship every day. If you can do a little more, do a little more. But this is a Shalagram, which is worshipped in the Madhva tradition. And traditionally you don't carve Shalagram Shivas. You're not supposed to. But this one has been passed down apparently from Madhva. And when you look how awesome he is. Uber Narasimha with 2, 4, 6, 16 arms. That's pretty awesome. This Swamiji, he let me see it. I had to torture him for years to find him. This Lakshmi Narasimha is called Bhima Narasimha. Bhima worshipped him. Now obviously not this one. Bhima's quite a long time ago. And bronze doesn't really hold up that well, 5,000 plus years. So this is they generally after 200-300 years they replace the old idols with the new. And they don't really let you photograph, but this Swamiji was very kind. I came there on a special day where they bring him out of the temple and they put him in the kund. And look, and then they put him up. All this incredible gold, how they worship Lakshmi Narasimha, blew my mind. That's him with the kavacha on his face. These guys are heavy Shankara. They're in the middle of the jungle, no cell phone reception. When I was there the first time, I met the president of Google, Microsoft, all these big, wealthy Indians, billionaires, software developers. They were there for this festival. No phone, nothing, and there's no outlet to plug anything in your room. And there's no hot water. And there's only a yoga mat on the bed. And they had their wives, wealthy, from these rich, and they all come once a year for 2 weeks, and they stay in the ashram with Swamiji during this time, and they do for time. That's so amazing people there. This beautiful deity was found in the earth, you see? Yeah. Near a temple of Ram. Again, Brahman having a dream, come find me. And then Narasimha kind of pointed him to this area and he found this deity. This one's in the second book. The Sapta Rishis did tapasya in this area, just outside of Bangalore, and Lord Narasimha manifested in a cave. There it is. Every morning this Brahmin comes and he sits and does pranayama and yoga meditation in front of the God of yoga. And as I was traveling for years, they kept saying, God of yoga, and I didn't get it until I was much older. The origin of pure yoga, bhakti yoga, came from Prahlad and Narasimha's relationship and experience. Oh, these are nice. This is one of the, I used to get deities made for myself, but temples. So this one's probably going to Texas, a bhakti rickshaw group in Dallas. They're building a huge, it's called the Gita Mandir, like a $15 million project. So this is for them. I didn't know at the time I made the deal. I wanted him, but now he's going there. And he's a big deal. I was talking to Nilamani Prabhu, maybe we should also do a big deity here one of these days. Here's some of the art that I was commissioning for the second book. You'll see also in the second book I have some of the best artists in India, traditional contemporary artists, so I had to commission them. Because I wanted to see the traditional aspects. There's art from Tanjore, there's Bengali art, there's Gujarati art, Rajasthani art, Marathi art, Kerala art, I mean, God, it goes on. So I commissioned a lot of them. This is another abandoned temple. So when I do tours, when I bring groups of devotees to India who love Narasimha, we go to these abandoned temples like this one, and we do full abhishek. Everybody, men, women, boys, girls, there's no rules, this temple is abandoned. As long as you're clean, get the mercy. Prabhupada always used to say that, get the mercy, take advantage of the opportunity of mercy, like a bee gets the honey. So, this one is nice. Nagamangala. The like 25-foot cobra. When I was young, 16, I went here for the first time, and the Brahmin left me in front of him, and he went to get the water for Abhishek. And next to him, there's this kind of cave with a naga hood, and there's like this hole, big fat hole. So I kind of like peeked down it, and I could hear the sound like it went into the earth. I had heard that they believe that this, not incarnation, but one of Anantasesha's cousins or something, lives there. So I was sitting there and I kept getting this chilling, really like I'm being, sometimes you're walking in the dark maybe, around the eyes and you get this chilling. It's because something is there, like another entity. So this I was getting, and I turned to the left and there's this, I thought it was the cobra statue. It was huge king cobra, like this thick, and he just came out, and he went, and he was like 2 feet from me, and I froze. And when you have the rush, sometimes you freeze. I was literally frozen, just looking at Narasimha, but I could see this black snake body keep going and going and going, and it felt like forever. and then he was gone. And then like a few the Brahman was like, he's back with the water, and he does Abhishek. And I was like, Swamiji, snake. And he was like, no snake. Inside. I said, no, snake's there. No, only inside. I was like, okay, son, but I'm the crazy one. It was fun. Many experiences like that, where even monkeys on the mountains, they would attack the Brahmins. Some of the Brahmins were sleeping, it was lunchtime, they would just give me the key. You go for darshan. You don't disturb a Brahmin when he's after lunch to rest. So back in the day, they didn't care. So they would just literally throw me the key, and I'd be like, where's the mother? They're up there on the mountain. So I would go and I would get attacked by monkeys, or there's cobras in the cave, and then I would come back down after this crazy experience, and I just saw monkeys! And he would no monkeys. I just ran away from like 50 monkeys trying to kill me. Monkeys! No monkeys, nowhere. Okay. Other times. It was funny like that. This is very far out. Now for those who love Hanuman, I love Hanuman because he's an amazing devotee. He also worships Narasimha, beautiful prayers to Narasimha. This is a form. Look, you see Hanuman on the bottom, and Yogi Narasimha at the top. In this area, I still can't find much history, but the Madhavas who've taken over the temple told me that they believed in their history and the chronology that Hanuman did tapasya here. Ram. And again Narasimha appeared. So then they signified this, one of their acharyas 1,000 years ago, I had this deity made. I don't know if I have a full shot now. Of Hanuman on the bottom and worshipping Yoga Narasimha on the top. And it's such a fantastic thing. It's literally in the middle of the jungle. You have to drive on this dirt road for 10 minutes. You're surrounded by jungle, and you're surrounded by tall seas. thousands of humongous tulsi bushes surround the temple. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. And this story is this. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. I was telling this story in the morning how this man suffered from cancer, and he's so convinced Narasimha will leave you. He even told me, you know how you're only supposed to be out? He took out my cancer. And he again left the deity, went to HG, make money for the wife and kids, and he did. He made a lot of money. But then he got cancer very young. And then he understood, I'm going to die. The doctor said he had like 6 months, 3 months. I'm going to go back to my puja, Narasimha. And he was really into it, and then he went after 3 months. The doctor said, come back after 3 months. He came back, and they were very confused because it was like 5 stages. Completely finished his whole body. And they were having some problems. They thought it was the machinery, so he said, come back after. But he missed that appointment and he went back like 6 months later. Doctor said, there's no cancer. Are you sure you got a proper reading for it? He said, of course. Still to this day, he's there. And he built his wife a big mansion there. So she's happy. Because, from Bangalore to tiny villages, a little change. So, and then the kids commute. And they also have 2 boys he has. So one will be in Bangalore, one will be in Hong Kong. So this type of stuff is amazing for me to hear this. This was this last year. You can see the camera crew. I would travel with a crew to do this just to make sure it was done professionally. And this is my Pavan, whose family comes from the royal dynasty of Mysore, the kings, who were fanatic worshippers of Narasimha. So we came there, and at first he was scared, like, there's a difference sometimes in India, the Hindus or you cannot touch. I'm not a Brahmin, blah blah. That's not how bhakti works. That's not how God works, right? Allah is a He's born and died. Okay, Nardishi spoke in but his father was. And how is it we can be so judgmental? We can touch God, we can have the mercy. So, yeah, it was ecstasy. I remember he was crying and rubbing the deity, cleaning the deity. And this is the Swamiji, 101 years old, of this temple. And again, he told me from a very young age, he's the only one who's worshipped. They're getting a little lazy. The 101, he could walk perfectly. And he said that not a day went by when he was around 20, for like 30 years, a king cobra would come. See these little windows on the left and right? There's a big like a perch. You could sit there. A king cobra would come and coil up and just watch him. Do puja every single day for like 30 years, and then he disappeared without fail. Never bothered him. And then after he would finish, the cobra would just spoil. When he told me the story, I was like amazed. I helped. Now the temple's renovated. We got it renovated, and they're doing puja again. And when they unburied, when they started cleaning the property, there's this gigantic temple underneath, a Hoysala temple with carvings and pillars. Anybody here from Orissa? Balaram. So this temple is from Orissa. Look at the beauty, huh? One of the kings of Orissa built this temple at 850 years old. Completely, the Orissans are devoted to Narasimha like crazy. Now, when I go there and I put in Google Maps, Narasimha temple near me, it's like 1,000. But before there was no Google Maps, I would just have the road maps, People would just mark a few for me. There's thousands. And Ramanuja, when he went there, he said the god of Orissa is Narasimha. Because the Brahmins worship him with Narasimha mantras. They worship Jagannath. And the Shalagram in Jagannath is a Narasimha Shalagram. But in the second book, I have a whole section on Orissa. And one of the anyone from Maharashtra? No, oh, a few. Oh, nice. This deity is from Ramtek. Anyone been to Ramtek? It's a very special place. Lord Ramtek. Ramtek. So this deity of yoga or Kevala Narasimha. Now this is his small little deity. But here's the big
Oh.
this is very special to me because the queen of Ramtek, this is in the second book, she came from a different part of the country and her Ishtadeva was Narasimha. In Ramtek, her husband's Ishtadeva was Ram. So generally you would have to take up your husband's, but she said nope. And he was like, what do you mean nope? She said, no, my Kuladeva is Narasimha. Enough said. There's no question. There's no talking about this. He is my God, he is my father. And he accepted. He became a Narasimha Bhakta. And he built a temple. This is 2nd century. 1800 years ago or something. Huge. This is the temple they first built. He told, and her husband was dying from a disease. And before he was dying, his Patni, his Rani said, what can I do, my love, before we leave? And when you are gone, how can I remember you? He said, never stop worshiping Narasimha with your own hands. That's, let me see if oh yeah. So that traditionally doesn't happen. The woman doesn't do it. But her husband gave instructions. So he died and then she started doing the puja herself. In front of him, you see I'm touching his beautiful toe. See how he's holding the Sudarshan chakra? He's in Yoga Nidra, his eyes are half closed, you can see from the back here. Amazing indeed, oh my God. So, let me get to this next one. So, he's doing, and the Brahmins became a little abhiman, they say in Hindi. Proud, angry, puffed up. You cannot do it? You're a woman. No, I am the queen. I am doing it. But the Brahmins, ganged up. So she didn't get angry. Like sometimes ladies can do. She said, okay, I will build my own temple and I will make the same deity but bigger. You can see the size. Look, this is this one. Right? See, I'm standing there. This is this one. Much larger. And hardly 100 yards from. So she died in front of this deity, offering lamp. It's in the chronology of the history of lamp. One of the few places that was invaded or nested. Imagine that's perfect death. You're doing puja. Like this one Russian lady I knew when I was young. She wanted to go to a place in Andhra, Vedadri, because this was in my documentary when I was young. And her Guru Maharaj, oh, you cannot do this. You're old. So she called me, she was crying. I said, don't listen to your Maharaj. Don't listen to him. Don't. You cannot get in the way of someone's bhakti. When I was young, I thought I could. Oh, tell them not to worship Narasimha like this. But what do I know? When I was traveling, meeting tens and thousands, hundreds and thousands of his devotees, I understood that I knew nothing about him and the Narasimha bhakti. So this queen was so powerful. And I was very lucky because the head of the archaeological department was a woman when I went there. So I convinced her, and she allowed, they don't let anyone inside to touch them or anyone. They're very strict. And I think you can see, oh yeah, the video. So, this next summer I'm taking a group of youth and devotees to go do Abhishek with him and touch him and hug him. Look, you can hug him. He's amazing. He's our father. Why can you not? So even when I was in South 2 months back, I brought a husband and their wife who were Narasimha Bhaktas, but they were a little wrapped up in the material world, and we were doing Abhishek of this abandoned temple, and they were crying. So this is their Kula day, but they forgot. And they never experienced anything. Normally you sit there, the Brahmin does everything, but this is abandoned, nobody's there. There was a leopard living in there. So they were touching, cleaning, having this mystical experience, And this is again in Maharashtra, in my brain. What do you about that? This is the problem with when you get old, you forget things. This one again, in an underground cave. Why? Because this area was Nanded. Nanded is famous in the world because it has the best eye doctors in the planet. So you see a lot of wealthy people fly from all over the world I met like people from Switzerland, people from Australia, because they are considered the top eye doctors in the world. They'll get educated in the West, and they'll move to Nanda, and they'll do seva for the world and community. They're very wealthy people. So this is one of their temples. He's in an underground cave, and the family found him when they were renovating the old fort that they had owned. They came upon this kind of dome way in the ground. And as they kind of broke through it, they could see it was him. And you see how he's holding the Sudarshan chakra on the front? Such an unusual form. He has the third eye, which is Lord Shiva. Yeah, beautiful temple, you see? It's so special. This is them. All eye doctors, PhDs, amazing people. They were like, he's from the guy, the suave guy there, you know, with the gray kurta. I was like, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Jersey. I was like, no. He said, no, but I've been there for a long time studying, getting educated. And then they left, moved back, and then he does like 50% of his work is seva. So, you know, old people come, they have these eye camps, and they literally they make them see again. And he says they draw their power from Narasimha, because that's their Ishtadev. So, look at him. Pretty far out form, huh? Again in Maharashtra, underground, someone was trying to build a house on their family plot next door. As they were going to do a Naga installation, they fell through into his temple. He's completely underground. And why did they bury him? Because in this area, the Mughals were coming around. So a lot of these kings or wealthy people would put their temples underground and have secret entrances. This is one of them. Absolutely stunning. He's in the second book. This one's in the second book as well. In Kurnool district in Andhra Pradesh. Kannur. Oh yeah, this one. This is far. This guy was really cool. This is one lady. She built this temple about 1,200 years ago. She was very wealthy. Her husband died. She gained all the wealth, and she wanted to devote her wealth to Narasimha. And she was a Tantrini, heavy Tantrini. So before she died, she buried her treasure, they say, in this temple. And gold and everything. And she put all these tantric symbologies, like almost kavachas and yantras and crazy, all over the temple. And this temple has been, they've tried to ransack it and break things, and it's never been able to be looted, ever. All the original stuff, like his crown, stuff from like 800 is still there. And of course, Shiva is there as well. I mean, every Mishra temple, Shiva is there, but in a particular form where he's sitting in meditation facing Narasimha, which is very rare. This is this one here. Look, he's a Shaivite. So again, Shiva told him, at the time there was no Brahmin for this temple. So he was trying to, get some temple somewhere, do puja, and he came in a dream. And Shiva said, no, I already did it. Shiva said, no, you have to stay here and worship him, my Lord. So, and this is the one that you guys remember last year? This is the abandoned one in Karnataka. Since I've been going there and doing the renovation, now a lot of people are doing Insta posts. But look at how he was covered. There was a leopard living in there, snakes and bats. Yeah. And there we are cleaning him. So imagine being able to do this to 1,500-year-old people. Anyone can do it. It's an experience that you don't forget. Of course, when we're here in the West, we'll have an experience. We'll go see a cool movie in the theater or whatever. Go on a roller coaster. It's very you forget it. You walk out and you're done. Whatever the experience is. But this experience is something so, it stays with you. It's a high. We're all searching for a high. This doesn't end. So you're for weeks and months after, you're touching this deity that has been touched by very advanced people. This is all mold. I'm probably one of the ways I'll die young is breathing that mold. Not a good idea. But all the kids in the village, my son was also there. They were in ecstasy. They're coming and cleaning him. Look at his fingers. See these nails? The rings? You can touch them to your head. You can massage them. Guys from the this kid, I think I spoke about him. His name is Mokshit. When he came, he said, give me something to do. I said, you have to do puja every day. Come into this temple and do puja. I think it's 4 o'clock in the morning before you go to school. Every day you do this. Now he's off to school. He left. But his mother told me every day he's crying. Please, go take one snap of Narasimha and send me in my school. He's such a cool kid, this kid. And look how you can touch him. You know, this is an experience, you know, even for ladies. I mean, in ISKCON, a lot of ladies can do deity worship and stuff. But, you know, our deities are not that old. This is 1,500-year-old deity. So that energy of potency is still there. When I found him the first time, I was like, yeah, this is me and my son doing every day. Yeah, it's very special, actually. He's got every year now he goes. But now, oh, and these are some influencers. Yeah, no, it's amazing. See? The one on the left is a very famous like Bollywood person. The one on the right is some social media influencer, their friends. And I mean, the experience, she was crying. They were crying their heads off. And like, you know, even now they write me, oh, when are you coming back? You know, can we do this again? Can we bring some friends? But unfortunately, the temple's going to be renovated. So, fortunately, but unfortunately. Now this is actually a photo. This isn't, what do you call it? Photoshop. My, one of my photographers, you know, he's an artsy kind of guy. He went behind him after I offered this big camphor lamp, and they did a slow shutter speed, and that's what happened. You know? I thought that was very interesting. Jwala, like fire. And these are on the outside. The Karnataka temples are probably the most beautiful, intricate temples in the whole world. I mean, look, every inch is stone from top to bottom. This temple was completely in rumbles and piled from top to bottom. It just fell down. And the locals had no money, but the Indian Railway needed to build their tracks through their temple property, not too close to the temple, like 200-300 meters away. And the head guy of the village, Pancha, or whatever they call it in South, yes, he had this like vision. Oh, tell them they can have our land built the temple. Exactly. Smart. So they did. They said, oh, that's all you want? They were expecting, 20, 30 crores. Oh, no problem. So they renovated the entire thing. And I was like so stoked to find this temple. A beautiful deity. He was not broken. Because even though the whole temple had fallen apart, it was very interesting. Again, we're back to Gujarat. Thanks to PC, the photos were a bit mixed. This was painted by a blind devotee of Narasimha. Met the guy. It was really cool. His eyes were all completely white, or whatever that is called. They were crazy cataracts, both of them. He painted this. So they say this temple is older, pre-Dwarkadish temple. Right behind Dwarkadish on the Gomati River, this temple is, most people don't even know. Beautiful ancient machine. This is it right here. So literally, to the right of us is the Dwarkadish temple. And that on the left is the Gomati River. Yeah. Oh, no. And then the Ajanta Ellora caves in Maharashtra. No? Oh my god. Wow. Anyways, on the way, in Aurangabad, I found this temple. Does this look like a temple? Not really, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. But I ended up at the bus station. The bus drivers, I don't know, cousins, some distant relative was there, who lives there. And I kept saying Narasimha, Narasimha, and then there's Narasimha. I'm on my way to this incredible form of Narasimha in the Ajanta caves. Oh, goddess. Her name's Mahalakshmi. You see how interesting this form is? You see Ugra Narasimha in the back, and then from Ugra came Yoga Narasimha. So this was her. And these statues, or the artists, are allowed to have these visions when they're painting or carving deities. Sometimes they manifest to them in a certain way which is not traditional. Like you see, for instance, in Germany there's a Narasimha. In Himachal, there's no form of the Narasimha in the Shastra. That was a very intimate time. So in the Shilpa Shastra there's no form, but the Stapati had that vision and created that deity. In Mayapur we were deity Narasimha, which we're never supposed to even worship. But again, the dream the Stapati had, the devotees loved very years. This is a full form. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know where the board is. Made for me by a team of love. This is in Bangalore. A very amazing story what happened in Persia. Pretty cool, huh? Some young teenagers made that. They were there and they were like videotaping, doing kids in India now are very far out with little phones and stuff, so they made that film. This temple was cool. He's in the second book because during COVID, a devotee of Narasimha sent a deed. Canada was not receiving any shipments, especially from India. So he sent the shipment. And he was like, what am I going to do? This one was waiting there at the temple. And then he had a dream, and there's this ancient temple, the oldest temple in Bangalore, Gopal Krishna Swami temple. And said, Narasimha must be here with me. How is he going to get that passed by the authorities or anything? So he told them, listen, this is my vision. No, not possible. Impossible. And then some weeks later, they all says, now we will, yes, we can do this. But this huge, big deity, beautiful deity. So he was in ecstasy. And then after some time, they all admitted that Narasimha came and said, why are you stopping me from coming here? So they all kind of gave in. This was hardly a few years ago. Those stories really make me happy. Present time rather than the past. This deity was worshipped by Arjuna. After the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna was walking. Arjuna, Krishna told Arjuna, ask me anything. What should you go doing? And Arjuna said, the form in which you killed him. And Krishna replied that it was only reserved for Prahlad. But I have a deity made for you of this form. By Lord Brahma, and then Vishwakarma, the divine architect. So this is the deity apparently, huge, 7-foot Ugra Narasimha deity. And they have this white cloth covering the intestines, because they have this, what's the word, they make up stuff? Black cat walking across the street. Superstition. Yeah. It's not just in, Hinduism, it's also in Christianity, but yeah, they believe if anyone sees this intestines, they'll go pagal. When I was young, I was like, let me see, I'm already crazy. And Brahman Narayan is still there. I still torture him to this day. Come on, what are you going to show me there? But one day, when I was very young, when he went out to get water, I went in and crossed the call, so he's still here, miraculously. I used to do that. I would take the mercy, or I would hear voices in my head like, hey, come in. I was like, shh, go ahead. That's how we go into these temples. There he is again. How much more time we have?
Yes. Close. That's when we end.
Okay, cool. Okay. 4 minutes. That's a bummer. There's so much more. You know where this is? Which deity is that? That's a whole back in 1998. Now you can enter that temple. Good luck. They'll take a photo. But that was back in the old days. I would do all the tours. I would stay there for weeks and clean the deities. No, they didn't care about me. So this is one of those rare photos. This is also him. This is also Dhruva, the cave underneath the pillar. We used to do Abhishek and clean him. This is a very rare photo. You can't see this now. The sun actually rises at its feet, and then you see how it's all bright, and it rises up. It lights, you can sit there. This is where I had an experience with Hanuman. People would tell me Hanuman is in the Holy One. I didn't believe that, But yeah, now I have a definitely. Hanuman definitely. This is the side profile of Bhargava Narasimha Swami. And this is the one in Gujarat, behind Dwarkadish temple. This is an Ugra Narasimha Shalagam that apparently has been there for forever. I'll just flip through quickly. This is in Pushkar. Oh, but there's 6 Narasimha temples in Pushkar. This is one of them. This is in Gujarat. In Baroda. Any of you Baroda? Yeah, it's a very special place. This is not so far from my we went there. Apparently this was worshipped by the king. A gigantic deity, like same height as me. And they dressed him like Radha Krishna. So when you go there, you kind of just see his smile. He has all this floofy clothes, and it's the weirdest thing. But I asked them, can I take I want to see him. And this is what I saw. Now, Hiranyakashipu's head is a goat. And why is it a goat? Because a goat's always going back, speaking nonsense. So that's how they represented Hiranyakashipu. He was speaking. Oh, last one, because let me show you the lady. Okay, you see her? This isn't the lady on the right of the. She was like 102 back then. This is where I stayed. She told me to sleep in front of Narasimha, which is inside here. There was a little gate right there. And when I fell asleep, in front of him, I woke up and then there was a tiger sitting right there. And he came to the door. Nobody told me, nobody warned me. No, there's a lot of tigers. And then she came in the next day and I was like, Ma, there's a tiger. And she was like, yeah. I've known him since he was a little boy. And his father came. It was like such a, because the gate was so thin, the tiger could have literally just pushed it over. Yeah, she was amazing. She worshipped Narasimha by herself. That was their father's instruction when he died. And this is in Jaipur, the queen. She worshipped Narasimha. I'll show you quickly. This was her palace. This is her deity. Her standing Narasimha in the bottom there. Her husband tried to kill her, the king, because he wanted a younger queen. So he put a lion in her palace at night. And the next morning the king came to check out his victory. Because his ministers were like, you can kill your wife? Are you crazy? He's like, yeah, but I have many. No, you can't do this. But one wicked minister was like, why don't we put a lion in her place? They'll take care of everything. They came the next day, and all of her guards who were also in on it were all disemboweled and their intestines were ripped out. And as he went up to her quarters, she was there doing pujas to Narasimha, the lion was there. So the king knew, he offered respects to his deity, and then he understood what happened. So this temple is still there. They have it on the archaeological Narasimhaji temple by Rani, forget her name, but yeah. And I think, this is Narasimha in Jodhpur. I wish we had more time. Jaipur, Sonapur, Gujarat. Anyone guess where this is? You'll be shocked. No, this isn't Vrindavan. Narasimha Temple, Vrindavan. I haven't shared this with anyone. This is like one of my private temples that I keep to myself. This mask is hundreds of years old. One of the Leelas, they do the Leela every year in Vrindavan. One year, the man who was playing Narasimha actually killed the Hiranyakashipu. So the authorities, Vrindavan magistrate, banned for like 100 years. They could never perform it. This was the mask he was wearing. They only started it again back in like the 60s. But yeah, this is the mask. They only worship the mask. They don't take it out. This is in Ahmedabad. That's when they were very easy for the. This is in Maharashtra. This is easy. A lady found him buried in the ground and she was planting. So one of my artists, Shamanaga Priya from Chennai, she did a lot of artwork for the second book. Her father was one of the top artists in the world in Chennai. And she was kind of an illegitimate child. But he taught her from when she was born, the Shilpa Shastra. So she's one of the only women in the world that knows the traditional measurements in the Shilpa Vedas. So when I found out about her, I was like, that's so rad. Like, I need to learn it. So she did a series of like 8 pieces for the book. So in Murli Temple, that's mainly a women's temple where he manifests to protect the women of this area of Nagpur. Another piece of art I had commissioned by a Kerala artist. Another piece of art I had commissioned in Orissa. Oh, this is an old one.
Right now, start.
This is in Kathmandu.
That is known as the Narasimha. If Narasimha wants to destroy the he changes his form.
Worshipped by the king of Kathmandu. That's in the palace. That he's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Forever? We have to stop? What's next? Is it Guru?
Prasad.
Oh, Prasad's next. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh, I do have I have to take the second book, if you want to look at it, or and then I have DVDs, Kavachas, and amazing things, so come and check it out. Thank you so much for you guys' time.